As you look at the Cubs, what do you see as being the challenge here?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the challenge here is that it's for me that it's a different market, and that I've never played in a big market actually. Fortunate enough to be on some great teams, some World Series teams. All are always kind of in, you know, small, not small markets, but smaller markets. And then the excitement of being able to do it here in a place that like I have a connection to this place, and then this place in general, Wrigley Field, and what all that means. That part of it all was appealing. And then I've only done it one place, so like doing it somewhere else is almost like proving it to yourself, right? Can you do it? And that part of it is real for me. And then it's a whole new set of dynamic and people that you hopefully can have an impact on. Hopefully you develop relationships with. That is really in the end why we do all this stuff.
So how much did geography matter? It's one thing to say, you were just saying, you lived in Chicago. You have kids at Big Ten schools. You have all these connections. I would think that if this, even everything you've said, if this job were in Miami, we wouldn't be talking about it like this.
Yeah, so I think you're probably right, because there's two things. One is like I do have a familiarity to this place, and actually kind of one of the things that I learned throughout this process is that like that's important to me, having that. I was talking to a couple other teams, and having that familiarity, like that's important to me. And then there are some just family logistical things that make this great, right? And that are really valuable to me, and frankly immediately make me feel comfortable in the job. And I don't think any of us take that stuff lightly.
What were your impressions of the Cubs? I know you said you've got to drill down and figure out who this organization is, but to us, we think you know the Cubs after seeing them as many times as you have over the years. What did you think of last season?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Cubs, it was scary for a while for us, and then they had a bad month, essentially what happened, which is unfortunate for them and which happens. I think there is a foundation of a good team here. There is like the way it's like because of what they've come through for the last 4 years, essentially. There's talent in the pipeline, meaning minor league players, young players, and then Jed has done a nice job to me of like just being not committed really anywhere, and that means that he has a lot of choices, and that's how you have to build these. You have to build these things from all places. I think the tendency is to immediately ask about free agency because it's just so easy to say let's just go buy players, but the sustainable places are done through kind of getting players from everywhere and then helping them develop, and then getting a core of players that really likes to be here and you can stay for a while. Some of those players are definitely here, and that's a really good thing too.
How do you go about dealing with the concept of development at the major league level? Because you might have some players that aren't fully formed when they're on the major league roster. How do you handle doing what's best for the team along with trying to get the player to where they need to go next?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and I think it's the hardest thing about Major League Baseball is because, and really it's hard because we create this tremendous expectation like gap because the team loves to tell you how good its young players are, and then when they get to the major leagues, it's the hardest. There is no like those pitchers aren't in AAA that they're facing. They're not facing that pitcher, right? And it's a hard league, and for the most players are gonna have a transition to great to really good. I mean, look at Greg Maddux his first year in the big leagues. I mean, just hold that player up. This is one of the best pitchers of all time. He was not a good pitcher his first year in Chicago, and so that's what happens to most players. And so I think part of my job is to understand that and just pump the brakes a little bit on a lot of that to help the player with that. The player is feeling that anxiety of what the fans want and what the fans think, and his teammates are feeling it. And we want wins right now. We want success right now. And so I think it's important just to manage all that and those expectations, and then to really, that's what development is. And then you use coaching in the development. You use, giving the players better chances of having success, maybe because of smaller doses or something like that, smaller spots. Give them chances to have success. And then sometimes really you just got to let a player fail. And sometimes that is the best teacher. Just pure failure is the best teacher.
You used a word today that a lot of people in your position try to avoid. You said there's luck in our game. And most of the front office guys, most of the quants, prefer the term variance. And it is an incredibly frustrating aspect of baseball. That truth, this idea of it being an individual game that masquerades as a team game, the idea that the playoffs don't really measure who's the best team in a given year, it's just the winner of the World Series that year. How do you make peace with the gap between your awareness of luck or variance and the larger lack of understanding in that regard?
Yeah, I think it's that's what's difficult about the playoffs, because I haven't made peace with it.
No, that's
you don't make peace with it because it shatters you when you have a good season that earns a playoff berth and it's over in a day or over in 2 days. It shatters what you think about the game, and you tell stories to yourself, and that's what we all do. We start telling stories to ourselves. But I think that you have to accept some things that you can't control. This is sports, man. This is sports.
But this sport more than many others.
And you have to accept those things. And I think if you've done it long enough, you do. You don't ever give into it. But you have to accept that it won't go your way every time. And the best way to do it is just to keep, that's what I talk about, stacking good decisions. Just keep making a good decision. And, the year you win, I think every manager tells the story of the luck that happened the year they won and the thing that happened. It's real. It has to happen.
Cubs fans know that. Look what happened when they won the World Series. I mean, they know it better than anybody.
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah.
What was this process like for you, just being a free agent as a manager and going through it? Because your agent said, he talked about you embracing this challenge.
Yeah, I think, truthfully more difficult than I thought. Not really as fun as I thought, honestly. It was hard. Because there became some really difficult decisions and everything like that. So I think, I learned a lot about myself this month for sure. I learned a lot about people this month. And that's important to me. But I'm glad I'm not going to be around it for a while.
So, you said that you listened before. How much leeway do we have to get after you? Because we're going to get after you, Craig. So, how much leeway do we have? Can we say, man, I'm really glad that Craig didn't bunt in that situation. We have to fight back the hordes of people that do want to bunt. We're not pro bunting. We like swing away. So, do we have some leeway where we might have to get after you sometimes?
How much leeway do you have?
Yeah,
I'm good with it. Yeah, let's go.
Good.
I mean, we'll have fun. I'll give it back. That's all right. That's all good.
That's all we ask.
The old joke over the years that has since changed, what Terry Boers always used to say is, when a Cubs manager is announced, he said, the moment you put that blue hat on, you look dumber. and I don't
notice that Craig doesn't have his cap
That's
on.
right.
Smart.
I don't necessarily think that that's the case. But like you say, you've never been in a big market before.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people. When you say it feels close, people are like, oh, it does. Okay, well, let's see how close it feels, and fans will be the judge of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you're right about that, and there's a time frame to that too. I mean, look, as a fan, close means like tomorrow. That's what a fan's, and that's what they should say. And I think, when you're thinking about the concept of just like really just stack good decisions on top of each other, might not be tomorrow. But I know how future has to look. It has to look a certain way, and it looks good here.
One last, I'm sorry, one real quick. The backlash in Wisconsin has been intense. And just anecdotally, I have a friend up there who said he hasn't seen or heard anything like this since Brett Favre left. And the sign at your eponymous Whitefish Bay Park was defaced. There's all sorts of memes on Twitter. How much does that hurt?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I underestimated that reaction for sure. Miscalculation on my part for sure. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't feel good. No, it does not feel good. And it's probably been this is why I said it's been an emotional week for me. Today really helped. It's like today really helped. And I understand you got to live with that, and it's real for people, and it's what they're experiencing. It's what fans experience, man. It's being a fan is being emotional, and I'm cool with that, man. That's why we're all here. I do think that I am confident that what I did, how we performed, the experience we gave our fans in Milwaukee over the last 9 years was good. I know that was good. So I do think that will age well. And so I have to be comfortable with the upset, the fact that people are upset will heal a bit over time.